We are so happy to meet you today on our webinar. But first, can you tell us if you can hear us correctly, if you can see us? Dear participants, use the chat, please, and let us know if you can hear us. Okay. Yes, thank you, Igor. This is the part of introduction to our webinar. So let me just say that today we planned to be here for about an hour. And this meeting is being recorded, so later you can find the recording on our YouTube. You will be able to get back to all the information. I am so excited because today is going to be a free trial lesson. So I think it's important to have the recording available somewhere. And most of all, please remember that this meeting is designed for you. So for the participants, for the people who want to learn something about software testing. If you have any question to our guest, our mentor, please write them on the chat. So that I can ask the questions to him directly. We will be starting just in a minute. Take some water. Please prepare your questions. Don't hesitate to ask them. And we will have an hour of fun with testing. I hope so. Officially, hello, welcome to our webinar. I'm Paulina Brudka from Future Colors, and with me is Rafał Kielar. Hi, Rafał.
Hello.
Nice to see you today. I hope that you will have time to share the experience with us of your how many years of working as a tester?
I think about 6 years now, or 7. It was like half and half because I was first a tester, then I switched to development, but I still am considered the guy who knows testing. So yeah, I've been in various roles.
That's great. That's even better because you have this a wide perspective on testing and on IT. So we will be it will be possible to answer many questions from the participants. So while we are waiting for the rest of participants to join us, let me just say a few introductory words about who we are as Future Colors, and then we will go through the presentation and to the lesson. So we invite you to participate in webinars and learn more about the IT industry, because we believe that everyone should have a chance to learn, develop, and enjoy employment security in the new digital economy. This is an opportunity to meet our mentors, like Rafał, check how we teach, and see how working in IT looks like in practice. If you didn't hear about Future Colors, which is a programming school, now it's time to learn some more. We are a creator of innovative education with a social mission. We believe that the future of job market begins today. Just a few years from now, 90% of jobs will require knowledge of new technologies. That's why, in addition to the old division into white and blue collars, symbolizing employees performing office and manual tasks, a new category appears: new future colors. That's why we have this name. The Future Colors constantly learn, develop, and change their skill set and use new technologies, such as programming, to work more efficiently and effectively. This gives them the freedom of choice, security, and possibility to pursue a profession that provides them with a stable future and good money. That's why today we want to talk to you about software testing, which is one of the career paths in IT. Software tester courses are an excellent option for people who want to start working in IT. The Future Colors Bootcamp will help spread the wings of people who are diligent, attentive to detail, and perceptive. The course involves a very large dose of knowledge presented in an accessible way by experienced mentors like Rafael. The bootcamp is designed for those who want to gain the competences to start working in the IT industry within a few weeks. So during the course, you will learn the theory of testing, you will create test cases, you will learn how to manage tests, you will also build your portfolio and strengthen your position in IT recruitment. That's why we are here today to tell you more about the role of a tester and also about our bootcamp. So just a few slides about Future Colors, and then we will go straight to the first lesson of testing. So Future Colors offers not only programming courses, but also career counseling, flexible and accessible learning method, completely online with the support of mentor, individual approach with one-on-one consultation and motivation, which you can rely on during the course, and support during recruitment. This is very important if you are looking to change your career path and join IT. Today, we have this agenda. We want to learn more about testing, about the responsibilities of a software tester. We want to learn about the process of testing, about the collaborations with other teams. We will learn about different types of software testing, and this is what will be presented by Rafael. And of course, we will be also speaking about what are the key stages of testing and how to effectively manage testing resources. Our guest, Rafael, is a senior software developer in ABB. Rafael, if I can ask you to tell us more about yourself and about your career path.
Thank you. Of course. So yeah, as is mentioned on the slide, I'm a software developer right now. I started working in ABB in 2017. So 6 years right now. And at first I was a software tester. Then I switched to development, and right now I'm specializing in software development in technologies such as virtual reality and augmented reality. So technologies that are quite new on the market. Right, just a couple weeks ago, Apple has announced the new Vision Pro glasses. So if anyone is a passionate or a hobbyist of new tech, this is the kind of stuff that we work on in my division in ABB. I wasn't studying neither testing nor computer studies. I was actually studying automation and robotics. And then I switched later to IT. So I also took this path of switching careers. And it's because it didn't quite match my personality or personal interests, I think. The areas of study where I studied were more related to machinery and more manual stuff. And I was always like interested in this, let's say, cleaner environment of IT, and to be able to code stuff and do interesting things. So I started with testing because my friend told me that it's a great start in IT. And I want to tell you why today. You will know a bit about who tester is, what he does on a daily basis. So you'll get a clear perspective of what tester does and if this may suit you or not.
Mm-hmm. And Rafael, at some point of his career path, decided to become a mentor in Future Colors, and we are so happy that he's supporting our students. And that's why we also want to mention our bootcamp software tester course. If you are interested probably at the end of this webinar, you will be interested in learning more about testing. So if you are, don't hesitate to go online on our website, learn more about the course. This is an intensive bootcamp with the support of mentor. The closest one starts on the 14th of August this year. And I will definitely leave you the button to click to get directly to the website and learn more about this. And if you are looking for really a way to find a new job in IT, we will also help you because if you buy the course, you will have a support in recruitment from our side. And if you decide to buy additional IT job program, we will support you even more with individual consultations, job interview, also technical interview, 3-month support with our advisor. Dedicated job offers will be sent to your email, and we will also share your CV with our partners. So here we wanted to give you just a quick look at our online platform in which you can find everything you need to get new knowledge. You will find here training materials. You will join live lessons and consultations with our mentors. You can write on chat, watch recordings of the classes, and submit assignments for checking. So all in one online platform on which you will learn if you decide to join Future Colors. Why is it important to choose us? Because you get the whole package, not only the best mentors like Rafał, and you will be able to meet him more just in a 1 minute. You will get live lessons which are being recorded, practical tasks, because it's very important before you start a new job to have some kind of experience, and during this course you will get a lot of it. It is 100% online, which is very important at these times, and you will get recruitment support. You will get only the best experienced mentors and a strong preparation for this profession. And additionally, which is also important for people who are not the speakers of English but are learning, you will also get additional English for IT course. So that's the end of my presentation, and I think that it's now time to get to Rafał's presentation, to his first introductory lesson about software testing. So the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Paulina, for this great introduction. I will share my screen now. I hope you can see it. So I'll talk today about many different topics, basically what software tester does and what testing is in a nutshell, so that you can get a clear perspective of the topic. Let's start with what a tester does, because that is the first question that might pop into your mind. What exactly a software tester does? So a general belief is that the main task of tester is to find bugs and report them. And that is correct. That is one of the main tasks of any software tester. However, it's not the only one. The keyword here are requirements, or is requirements. Client's requirements, to be precise. So what the tester does is mainly he verifies compliance with those clients' requirements. Why is it important? A tester needs to get a deep understanding of the application. He needs to understand what a client wants, what are his expectations, and then when it is developed, and even before it is developed, even at the stage of planning, a tester is involved to check and verify if what we want to build or what we have built is compliant, is exactly the thing that our client and the users want. So in order to do that, he uses various techniques. he might write test scenarios and test cases, so a kind of documentation that tells him and other testers and also the client how an app should be tested, what steps needs to be taken to test particular features. He can also choose, well, obviously he needs to choose appropriate testing techniques. There's a plethora of different testing techniques. We will talk about just a couple of them. And he also needs to assess the risk. You know, as testers, we don't get to decide whether the application will be published or not, but we need to deliver information so that the stakeholders can then consciously decide whether the application is ready to be released or not. We can say, for example, that the application is is broken, that it crashes, for example, or has critical bugs in areas that are often that will be often encountered when users will use the application, because we know that as testers, because we know the application enough. And this information is crucial for the stakeholders, for the project managers, and whoever is involved in the process of software development, to be able to make this decision. Is a software application ready? So these are the key things that a tester does. Obviously, not the only ones, but if I had to name 5 of them, that would be them. Now, in software development lifecycle, there are different phases. Actually, usually it doesn't look just as simple as that, so a linear path, because we work usually in an agile way. It is a modern way of delivering projects. By agile, I mean frameworks such as Scrum. You might have heard of them or not. And usually it involves moving in cycles. So developing the product step by step. So this cycle of planning, designing, developing, and testing will repeat over time during the software development process, and thus will deliver further and further features until the application is complete. Now, a software tester is not only involved at the final stage of testing. Actually, a tester should be involved at the very beginning, as early as possible. Now, why is that, you may ask? Well, you know, when we plan the application, we write some documentation. A client needs to tell his requirements, what he wants. Then there is a phase when we translate those requirements into user stories, so into requirements that later will be delivered as features in the application. And imagine that we as testers find an issue in this documentation. So, for example, we see some lacking information, we see some inconsistencies. Now, at the stage of planning, if we report them, we can fix it very quickly and very cheaply. If we were only testing the application when it is developed, it always then takes some development time, which takes money and time, obviously. So early testing saves time and money. It is one of the most important rules in software testing. So because of that, because of the fact that testers are involved in the whole software development lifecycle, they also contact various people. They need to collaborate with different people in the team. And that is actually why I think a tester is a pretty good role to start in IT, because you may end up as a tester and during your career stay a tester and grow as a tester into a senior tester, a software testing team lead, etc. But, well, you may also switch to other roles if you want. For me, it was the case that I was doing the testing, and then I was testing the applications of some other team that were doing some VR and AR stuff, and I thought that, well, this looks pretty interesting. Why don't I learn this engine and start developing similar stuff? Maybe I can join them. So for me, I started as a tester first because I was a bit scared of programming, and later on it became clear that it's just pure nonsense to be scared of programming. But well, it was my interest to later switch to development. Obviously, testers and developers have a very close relationship because they talk to each other all the time about bugs, about features, what needs to be done, etc. But that's not the only person that we have to speak to. Business analysts and product owners, these are the people that know the client, know the requirements. And as testers, we are looking at the application from the perspective of a potential user. So we take this whole application, look at it, and we can tell these people that from our experience, this part could have been done in another way. It would be maybe better for the user. It would be more clear, give some advice, give some insights into how the application looks like, give our opinion, which is valuable because we as testers have seen a lot of applications and have this mindset of looking at this from point of view of a user. Now, this is also a funny thing because actually everyone has a smartphone, for example. Everyone uses some apps. You use Facebook, you use messengers, you use different stuff, and everyone has experience in testing because he uses those applications, and testing is mainly just using the applications in order to find potential issues and improvements. Also, a tester may also contact client if it's needed, if he needs some insight. There is also this level of testing called user acceptance tests that are conducted by the client or client representatives. And in such cases, a tester may also be involved in the process. Designers, because we not only look at the features and if the features are implemented correctly, but also if the application is, for example, comfortable to use. So we do this so-called usability testing to check if the application is just comfortable for the users. So we need to take into consideration who will be using the applications, whether someone needs a tutorial, whether someone will, for example, work in gloves and needs bigger buttons, or if he will be using the application in a car, for example. We need to think of the real situations in which the app will be used, and then tell if we think that in current state the application is usable. So if it is just nice to use. Also, Scrum Master, because as testers or quality assurance engineers, rather, we may be involved in improving the whole process of testing and of collaborating with other people. And we may give this insight to, for example, Scrum Master, who is a person that is responsible for ensuring that the process goes smoothly, the process of Scrum in this case, and he is the person to contact in such situations. So becoming a tester, you will get to know different roles as well, and it is not clear that you will continue to be testers. You may also think that, well, I want to be business analyst. This suits me well, or I want to become a designer. This looks fun, and there's then it's much easier to switch because testing capabilities, testing skills are highly respected in all these areas.
And if I may stop you for a moment, because I really liked your slide. If you are not sure that testing is the right path for you, you are thinking about being someone else, but definitely joining IT, I will share with you link to the free aptitude test that you can take on our website, futurecolors.com, and you will have to answer a few questions. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to do it, and you will have some kind of suggestion in which way you should go. So look for a button with the free aptitude test so that you can decide or check rather if the testing path is the right career path for you. Okay, so back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Paulina. So let's now go a bit further and talk a bit about the practice of testing. First, we need to know some stages. So what are the key stages of the process of testing? Obviously, nothing goes without planning, and maybe the planning is not as crucial in terms of documentation, in terms of writing all this stuff down. It depends. We can say it depends on the it depends on the company. It depends on the strategy of testing, which might be very, very different from company to company. So you might be doing some very complex test plans, or you might not do them at all. But what you need to do is definitely you need to know what kind of testing you will do. So what techniques you will use for testing. You have to plan and prioritize the features that you will be testing, so that you know that, for example, this feature is very risky and we need to prioritize this. This is the most important stuff because the users will see it all the time, and we need to test it thoroughly to be sure that it works properly. So we need to design and plan the tests according to the context that we are working with. Then we obviously are executing and reporting the tests. So we'll be doing these tests that we planned, and we will be reporting the issues and the results of our tests. Now, when it comes to execution, there are various techniques. I often say this anecdote. When I was an intern, I joined with a couple other students, and they went to some other team, and I was the only one to join a different team to them. So I was a bit sad because I lost some company, and I was alone, basically. So I met my mentor, and he just gave me the phone and said, well, go and test. And I was like, whoa, is that it? I just need to click and test, and how do I need to test? Well, however you want, test it and find bugs. And this is one way of testing, obviously. This is a very popular one, and the one that I enjoy the most. And this is actually called exploratory testing. So what you are doing is exploring the application just as if you were a user. And it is very interesting. It can be a creative stuff to do, creative work, because sometimes it's very fun to come up with ideas to break the application. You never know what the users will come up with, and usually they never use it as developers thought they would. And this is our job as testers, to find this sort of situations and cases. On the other hand, we might also write test cases. And this other group of interns that joined this other team, actually, I met them later on in the kitchen. We were drinking coffee and talking about what we do. And I just said that, well, I just have a phone and I just click on stuff and find defects. And they said that they need to go through a couple dozen steps and go step by step and verify it by test cases, documentation, etc. So they were doing it more formally. They had written procedures that they need to follow step by step, and in this way they reported if an application is working or not. And actually both approaches are valid. It just depends on what kind of application we are testing and what we need and what we expect from testing. We are doing a lot of regression testing and retesting. And what is regression testing? Well, regression is a word that you may think as like taking a step back, or you think of something similar, right? So in terms of application, speaking of application, whenever a new feature is implemented or something is modified in the application or a bug is fixed, we need to verify if this particular change in the app hasn't broken something else. So we are looking holistically at this application and see if a change hasn't caused another issue in some different part of the app. Retesting is simply doing a test, the same test after we reported the bug and the tester and a developer has fixed it. We are verifying by retesting if the bug has been fixed or not. Then at the end of the project, we do a test closure and evaluation. If all the necessary tests have been done, if we need to hand the documentation over to some other team, if we need to archive the documentation or the test environments, and we could talk about it the whole evening, but this is actually a thing that we are teaching in our bootcamp, and this is a whole lesson on test closure, and actually each of this point is a whole lesson in our bootcamp course. So I can't go this deep in such a short time, but you can get a glimpse of what you can expect from the course. But what I can tell you are the 7 rules of testing, which is one of my favorite parts of theory about testing, because it describes pretty well the mindset that a tester needs to have when he tests the applications. So first of all, testing shows the presence of defects, but it cannot guarantee that it's defect-free. And it connects very well to the second rule that exhaustive testing is impossible. What does it mean? Well, imagine a game, an open world game that right now there are many open world, huge RPG, AAA games. And well, can we actually test every possible interaction that a player can have with the world, with every NPC, every enemy, using every possible weapon, and also doing this on every possible PC or any other device configuration? Well, obviously not. And unless this is a very simple app, unless this is, a calculator maybe, or even not, we cannot guarantee that we have verified all the possible inputs and all the possible configurations of a system. Thus, we can never be sure that the application is free of bugs, and we can never say that. We can never tell our client or product manager, well, this app has no bugs, because it just means that we haven't found more, but there definitely are some bugs that we haven't found. This relates to the absence of errors fallacy. This is exactly that. If you think that there are no bugs, well, then that means that you're wrong. Then I talked about early testing. That is very important because it saves time and money. We also have defect clustering, and this rule basically means that if we have a module in an application where we find a lot of bugs, it means that there are probably many more. And this is one way of prioritizing the areas of the applications that we should focus on when doing the testing. So when we find something broken and we find a couple of bugs there, we should definitely dig deeper, because we might be onto a gold mine of bugs. We also have the pesticide paradox. I'm not really into gardening or farming, so I don't really like this comparison. But you can also think of the gym paradox. If you keep doing the same exercises on the gym, the muscles will get used to the exercises, and you will stop doing progress. You will stop making progress. And when speaking of testing, this applies to doing the same tests over and over again. Because if we keep just doing the same stuff and not come up with new ideas, for example, new test data, changing something in the testing environment, in the system configuration, testing on different devices, if we don't do that and just follow the same tests over and over again, they will stop detecting bugs, because the devs will fix the application and they might fix the bug, or they might fix just the part of the bug where it occurred specifically during our test. But in all the other possibilities, it might be still broken. So we need to be creative. We need to change tests from time to time. We need to adapt, and we need to just stay focused on doing the testing, be thorough, be never be, take it for granted that the application just works, and just try and find new bugs and find new ways of breaking it. If you ask me what types of testing a tester does, well, these are not all types of testing that you might do in your job, but these are, I think, the most common ones that a manual tester does. So definitely you will be concentrating on the system. System tests are the tests that take into consideration the whole system, the whole application, not just one particular part of the code or module, but rather the whole application just as it is, just as a user would run it. And we'll be doing both functional tests and non-functional tests. Functional answer the question if the app works as per the requirements, or if the features of the application work right, if there are any defects in the features. And non-functional tests are related to, for example, security, performance, maintainability, usability. So all the stuff that isn't that clear from the function perspective, but stuff that is non-functional. So as mentioned before, the comfort of usage is very important. When we are testing applications that have some vulnerable data, for example, if you're working in a bank or insurance company, you'll definitely be working with personal data that needs to be protected, also according to some norms and regulations. And this is also a part that you have to take into consideration when conducting tests. Regression tests and retests I already mentioned. So you'll be doing tests all over and over again to check if some change hasn't caused new issues. What tools you can use to test applications? This will be the last thing that I want to talk to you about. Well, first of all, you will be using a testing environment. So from time to time, you hear about some funny situations, or not so funny, that occur. For example, a bank application that sent some strange notification to all the users because the testers were doing the tests on production. Production is just the environment where it's just running live, and the users are using the same data. And obviously, we cannot do tests on production all the time. Sometimes we might need to do them, but more often than not, we will be using special test environments on test data that we might want to determine ourselves, which will be the most beneficial to our tests, and which will test the application in the best possible way. We will be, a tester uses defect management tools on a daily basis, because when you find some bug, you will definitely need to report it. And you will not do it in Microsoft Word or Notepad. If you do that, it means you must change the job. But usually there is a special tool that you're using for doing these reports. During our bootcamp, we are teaching you Jira, which is one of the more popular project management tool, and we are teaching how to report bugs in Jira, how to write test cases in Jira. So after a bootcamp, you also have some experience in the tools that you will be definitely using on a daily basis as a software tester. One of the best friends of a tester is documentation, if it exists, because we might quickly check whether something is running in accordance to requirements or not. But sometimes we need to rely on our intuition, because sometimes the documentation doesn't exist. Then there are tools that developers will love you for if you use them. For example, DevTools or other logging tools that when you encounter a bug, they will show you an error message or an error code that you might include in your bug report, so that the developer then knows better where to look for the solution for. Also, screen recording this is a great thing, because you can imagine doing exploratory testing. So you start the day, open an application, and use it for an hour, finding some bugs, and you cannot find any bugs, so you become distracted, and suddenly an app crashes. And you don't know why, because you've forgotten the last 5 minutes. You've been in a trance and you don't remember anything from the last 5 minutes. You don't have any idea how this bug occurred. In such cases, screen recording tools are your good friend, because you might just as well record your screen when you're doing the testing, so that you don't forget the steps that you've taken. Also, screenshots are great to include in any reports that you're doing. This way, developers know exactly what to look for, how the bug reproduction looks like, and it's easier for them to find a potential solution. Test automation is one area that is very popular, and of course, to do some advanced test automation, you need to know coding. And in any case, knowing how to code on a basic level at least is, I think, very beneficial. But on the other hand, you can also automate stuff like API, which is an area of manual testing, but you can do automated API tests that don't require as much coding knowledge. You just need to know how to use tools like Postman or some other API testing tool that allow for writing automated tests. So it isn't always the case that you need to know coding. And test automation is a great candidate for regression testing, because instead of doing the same tests manually over and over again, you might also want to automate them. AI is obviously the new gimmick, the new buzzword of this year. And indeed, AI is a great tool. Use any I use ChatGPT or other AI tools also pretty much daily as a developer, but I would probably also do as a tester. It allows for fast generation of test data. It can give you ideas of what areas to test, can give you ideas on the test cases, some non-obvious cases that you can test. So it is a great tool for work, but also for learning. If you want to know a bit more about one particular tool or an area that you're interested in learning, you can also ask the AI, for example, can you give me a learning plan for it? And it will provide you with an answer. Obviously, it isn't a live person, so you cannot arrange a one-on-one person consultation like on our bootcamp. But, well, there's some place to start as well. And also, bootcamp is great, but you have to continuously work and grow and improve to stay competitive on the market. But in any case, AI tools are great, and if you haven't used them, I encourage you to try them for well, anything that you can imagine that they might be helpful with. It's pretty amazing.
Rafał, so let me ask you a question. aren't you afraid that the artificial intelligence will steal your job?
No, it won't steal my job. Well, it will not steal neither a tester's job nor a developer's job, I think. It's still a machine, and it understands context up to some point. After some level of complexity, it's a hit or miss. For example, as a developer, when I ask it to generate some code, more often than not, I need to correct it myself. So if I didn't know already how to code, I wouldn't be able to make a whole application out of an AI chat tool. And the same applies for testing. It's still required that someone human, actually a real human, assesses if the test results are correct or not. And AI might help you, and it will help you. It might make the job easier, or it might make it faster. And definitely it's beneficial to know these tools to stay competitive, because if you don't use it, you will just stay behind the rest. You will be slower than the rest. So why not just use it and basically bundle it up with your experience and knowledge to make the best possible use out of it.
Okay, thank you. So we don't have to be afraid about artificial intelligence. There will always be work, and it is definitely worth learning technological skills and developing them. So about the development, as we already know, the job of a developer tester is demanding a lot of learning. You have to stay up to date with the technologies, with the new tools. How do you take care of your self-development, Rafał?
Well, first of all, I stay up to date with the tech I'm using on a daily basis. So, for example, I'm specializing in Unity engine, which we use for developing VR and AR applications. So I always check for updates. I always try new things when they come out. But I also treat it as my hobby. So after hours, I'm doing my own video games in Unity. So this way I still can improve my skills, try out some new stuff that I might later then use in my job. And with testing is a bit the same. Like if you're interested in a particular area of testing, you need to read blogs, you need to read websites, try out new tools, see and assess what's trending right now, what new tools are there to help you, like AI or some new automation frameworks. So you definitely need to stay up to date. I don't think it takes that much time to read news, and it's also, I think many people being addicted to smartphones are reading the news anyway. So instead of reading some sad news from the world, you might as well read a bit about technology. Why not?
Yeah, definitely. It's your decision what you do with your free time, and it's really worth it to use it to develop your skills. Rafał, is it the end of your presentation?
Yes, it's the end of my presentation, actually.
Okay, so that is a great time to ask your questions, dear participants. If you have any, don't hesitate to write them down on our chat. We are waiting for your questions. At the top of the page, you can find a click button that will redirect you to our website, on which you can learn more about the bootcamp itself. So I have a question to you, Rafał. Can you provide some tips for aspiring testers who are starting or just thinking about their careers in software testing? What advice would you give them to succeed in this field?
We already talked about it, but self-development, learning new skills, it's very important. I I would start by reading. I would start by reading the news, just joining some maybe software testing groups on social media, joining LinkedIn and reading some stuff there, and get used to the language, get used to the technology, get to know a bit more about testing, what is trending right now on the market. And depending on what you're particularly interested in, for example, you might want to learn test automation because you want to code. Then it'll be the best to just start coding. So pick one language, it doesn't matter which one, but don't definitely start three at once. Just pick one thing and try to learn and try to develop, and don't hurry, and don't be overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that you can find on the internet. I think the most important thing is the mindset. And if you want to learn something, you must follow the excitement and not frustration. If you will be reading only about how maybe saturated the market is, or how hard it is to learn programming, or just read all the tutorials because you think you have to do everything all at once, then you won't get anywhere. Like if you start doing any sport, for example, you start going to the gym, you won't suddenly lift hundreds of kilograms on your chest. You start with small weights, and the same applies for any type of thing that you're learning. So for testing, you also need to go step by step, small steps, one at a time, and then after some time you'll see that you've improved a lot.
Okay, so thank you for that. And we have the first question from Jairus, I think. Any tips to familiarize on Jira tool?
Yeah, I think there is a free plan for Jira. I'm just checking it right now, but
yeah, there is the free plan. You can.
So there is a free plan you might try. So you don't need to buy anything actually. So what I will do is just make an account on Jira, just start some project, get to know how the interface looks like, where to find the necessary tools, so how to report a bug, how to write a user story, where is the backlog and how to manage the backlog. These are the stuff that if you don't know where something is, you will always find a documentation for it. So start with the basics, and already using it, but we are still exploring. Well, it depends on what you exactly need from Jira. I'm using probably just a fraction of stuff that Jira offers. So for me, the most important thing is just writing a user story, a bug, and a test case, for example, in X-Ray. And I hardly do anything else in Jira. These are the things that I'm teaching. But actually, as a tester, you probably would just use a couple of features and don't really care about the rest, because it will be the job of Scrum Master, for example, to manage it. But in any case, if you need to find a specific feature, I would start looking at either documentation, official Jira documentation, or YouTube.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, thank you. And when it comes to skills and qualities required to be a successful tester, from your experience, Rafał, and from the people you observe in your job, so what would be the key skills in today's software development industry?
Well, first and foremost, communication skills. I think, well, it's not the technical skills that matter the most, actually, but rather the communication skills. For example, when reporting a bug, it's extremely important that a bug is reported precisely so that a developer knows exactly what the bug is, how to find it, how to reproduce it, and then it's easy for him to fix it. And it's those points where developers and testers meet, where some conflicts might occur. For example, because a bug was reported in an unclear way. So this is one thing. You need to have the right communication skills. Also, you need to have some level of discipline, because sometimes, especially when you are doing this informal testing, like exploration testing, you need to self-discipline. Basically, you need to organize your time efficiently. You need to remind yourself, you need to remember to use the tools like doing screenshots, recording the screen, and just be precise, be concise, and try to do everything you do as professionally as possible. And sometimes people just forget about it and think that because they've already tested the application 1,000 times and this is the 30th bug in the day that they're reporting, that they will just throw something and get on with their lives. But that's not the case. If it will eventually return to you, you will need to clarify this. So why not just be precise from the very beginning? So I would say that this self-discipline is very important. Also, some creativity and the ability to do your own research. It's very important. Not just rely on other people, but be able to also do your own research. If you don't know something, then just try to find it yourself first, and then if you're stuck, then ask other people. But sometimes you need to stay creative and you need to find different ways to tackle various problems.
Yeah, okay. So, dear participants, if you think that this is description of your skills and competences, then go straight to our website, futurecolors.com, and find all the information about a software tester bootcamp. You can find the bootcamp curriculum there. You can go to our YouTube channel, watch more about being a software tester. However, if you think that you are not sure if being a tester is your path, go to the free aptitude test that I've shared before. Do the test. I encourage you to do that as soon as possible to have this clear vision for your future development. We are so happy that you joined our webinar today. We hope that you will be following us on our social media. You will visit our website, look for more information on our YouTube. As you can see, we share a lot of knowledge from the experienced mentors, so it is really worth to go to our social media and YouTube, definitely to check out more new information about the career paths in IT. Thank you so much, Rafał. It was a pleasure to listen to you today. It was a great lesson, and I hope that we will meet soon on one of the bootcamps.
Thank you too. Thank you all for participating.
Thank you, and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.